Today we are going to be making some DIY ornaments. I'm going to show you all how I repurpose my ornaments, especially if I have a colorway that I'm doing for the season and I am unable to find different type of bulbs and things that I need. And sometimes I can find the bulbs, but I just want something completely just unique, and I kind of just enjoy being able to save money sometimes on these holiday projects. And I'm going to show you, or shall I say take you behind the scenes as I start prepping for my show. Now, because I'm working in my kitchen, I am going to place some saran wrap down on the counter. You can use a trash bag. I'm just going to use a little bit of saran wrap here. And sometimes I'll wrap the entire island, just depending on how much I'm doing. And then also, in addition to wrapping, I do have a tray that I'm going to be working out of as well. But I'll show you the supplies that we're going to be using momentarily. All right, so this is a nice, good surface area right here for me to work in. Couple of the supplies that you're going to need. You are going to need, I like to use a little tray to work in. I also keep scissors on hand, some cheap paint brushes, old paint brushes, some water. I have some water in here, and baking soda. A lot of these things, if you're a craft type person like I am, a lot of these things you more than likely have on hand. And then also some Mod Podge. And then I also will use the spray adhesive as well. I'll be sure to link the items down in the description box that I am using. So we're going to start off with the first one. Now, I recently did a arrangement over on my table where we went in, we used magnolia stems, we did a beautiful heirloom arrangement. When I took the arrangement down, I set my magnolia stems to the side because we're going to start off with making some DIY picks. So we're going to jump right in. First thing we're going to be using, I have the magnolia stems, and then we're going to use a little bit of the Mod Podge. If we can get it open. That's why I always keep a spare, honey. Here's a smaller bottle. Actually, a new bottle. Always keep a spare. And let me go snag some gloves really quick. I grabbed another coffee cup, and I'm just going to cut this. And when I do my arts and crafts, when I tell you I makes it work. Okay, so we're going to pour our Mod Podge inside of the top of this cup. All right, so we'll set this off to the side. Now for the adhesive, I like to use one brush. This is just a real cheap brush I got from the Dollar Tree. I'll come in and I'll start to coat my magnolia stem here. And I'm being very much generous with the amount that I'm applying. And I'm coating every single piece, including the stems. So we're going to put our first layer on. And as we paint these on, we want them to get to the point to where they're tacky. And then we'll start the next step in the process. Okay. I have a bulb, and we're going to take this bulb and we're going to repurpose it and change it to a completely different color as well. And I'm doing the same thing. I'm coming in very generous, and I'm just going to put my first layer on here. I'm getting the inside as well. Some glitter here. This is a royal blue holographic glitter, and now what we're going to do is we're going to come in and we're going to start to give our magnolia leaves a little bit of glam. I have a large size bag, and then also when I work with glitter, oftentimes I will go ahead and just put a mask on to just make sure I'm protecting my respiratory system, because oftentimes, sometimes you're working with glitter, you get to sneezing and things of that nature. So I just go ahead and just put a mask on. We're going to go inside of the bag with our first stem. Take a toothpick, I go up underneath. I'm going to take over the bulb here so it's completely covered, and I'm trying not to touch it because I need my glitter to dry, and then I'm going to take it over our styrofoam here, and I'm just going to stick that down in there, and that's where it's going to dry in place. So I have several pieces done. This is a second magnolia pick. You guys, isn't this absolutely gorgeous? It's not completely dry yet. Now on this stem right here, I did not go all the way down the stem with glitter. Sometimes I will, sometimes I won't. Oftentimes, if I am showing the stem on one of the magnolias, then I'm going to accent that stem for the design that I'm doing. So I just have a little bit more glitter, and then we will switch over to the next ornament that I'm going to show you guys how to do. Now all of this is part of a single collection here. And I just absolutely just love this entire look here. It's amazing. Or I think it is. I think it's so pretty. If you were to buy one of these stems like this, full and thick like this out of the store, it will cost a pretty penny, or it'll be plastic. You guys, this is absolutely just gorgeous. We'll get in close. Now, the way that I dry these on top of... The way that I dry these, I use a piece of parchment paper, and I just come in and I set my stem down. Once that side of the stem dries, I'll go back in and I look at it. Now, sometimes I will let the greenery or the brown or the edges show through. Sometimes I don't put as much glitter on there, but it's enough glitter on there to where you can actually see the shape of everything. And this is the large... or shall I say a piece of the large stem from our live that I ended up clipping to go in the arrangement. This is what that stem looks like. So just one bouquet, or shall I say 2 stems of magnolias, turned out absolutely beautiful, and is working in our favor. So I'm just going to move these over a bit so I can give this stem right here a place to be, and then I'll show you what the bulbs look like. Also, when they are in this phase, I try not to handle them too much, because this is the original stem that we started off with. But the more you handle them, your magnolias will start to become heavy, and it makes it easier for them to fall apart. Now, I will say this technique is better when you're using fresher magnolias. Some of the ones that I had were dry. This stem right here had been sitting in water, and it got a cut, and therefore it was still able to take the water up. But for this magnolia stem right here, it came from an arrangement, but it's still usable, as well as the leaves. Let me show you what a single leaf looks like. This is what a single leaf will look like. It's absolutely gorgeous, and those can easily be tucked in, and it just fits in so effortlessly. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to swap everything over because we're getting ready to paint. You guys, where is it? Where's my remote? Well, all right, the remote did everything for us. Now we have all of our supplies set up for our next round of bulbs here. Now we're going to be using some craft paint. This is very cheap if you're a crafter like myself and you have several different colors on hand. So what we're going to do, first thing I do is I go in and I shake up my paint very, very well. And I'm just going to put like a moderate amount. I also have some water here as well to offset my brush in. And we're just going to put a generous helping of paint down. Now we won't need much paint here, but we're going to again use those same red bulbs. Sometimes I will go ahead and I'll pull off the top of the bulb where your ornament comes from. What we're going to do, we are going to take, and actually we're going to go in and use a different wood stake here because I don't want any glitter on these bulbs. We'll go with this. Okay. So now we're going to just come in. And I do need a piece of napkin. going to set that right on top of my plate. And we're just going to start painting. I have a total of 4 more bulbs here. So when I do this technique, I like to use at least 2 different sizes. When I am repurposing or I am reusing bulbs that I have used of Christmas past, I do not necessarily focus on the shape, because as you can see, there are rivets in this bulb right here, but you do not see the rivets when you are utilizing the glitter. Now for the second application, you will be able to see the rivets, so just keep that in mind if you're trying to do like a certain type of proportion. So for me, I'm not going to put this application on this bulb right here, but I do have 4 bulbs here that I'm going to be utilizing. So I'll go through, I'll do my paint technique on all of these, and then we'll go ahead and head to the second step. I have some pretty good coverage on these bulbs. Now I'm going to take some baking soda, and this bulb is a little bit wobbly, but I think I can achieve what I need to do. Hold on one second. Now I might have to apply a little bit more paint, because you want your paint to be wet. You also want your paint to cover up any of the old color or the previous color that was at the bulb. You can use clear bulbs in order to achieve this look. You don't have to use acrylic paint. You actually can use spray paint to achieve this look. Okay, so now I'm going to have to go back over it because I touched the bulb, and that's fine. That's okay. I have flocked my magnolia stems, and I also have flocked my bulbs here. So I'll get in close, let you look at those. Again, for my magnolia stems, whenever I'm doing activities like this, I will go ahead and again lay out a piece of parchment paper. While these are drying, I do come in, I check in on them, and I touch up as I go the next day. Because with your magnolia stems are going to be lying flat sometimes on top of one another. I'll come back in and I will touch them up. And with the bulbs, I wait till they are completely dry. And see, the styrofoam is just so perfect because you can see I have the bulbs here. And everything is able to stand up nice and neat. I'm going to move this on top of the parchment paper. And sometimes if I see something that needs to be addressed, I will go ahead and just sprinkle a little bit of baking soda right there. I also will use this in a salt shaker. Sometimes it's easier that way. Once I address what needs to be addressed, then it can continue to dry. Now, keep in mind, we did not sand down the magnolia surface. Every last one of the pieces that we did is going to receive a finishing spray. Now, keep in mind that with your flocked pieces, you do want to come in and use a mat, if you will, and something that's not going to give it a shiny surface. With your pieces that have the glitter on them, to me, I say satin. If you want it to just really just pop, you can come in and you can use a just super shiny, because it's only going to really just make it look like glass, if you will. So for these pieces, before I can move on to the next step, I will have to have them dry, because I'm going to be, you know, really getting up in their business and getting the look that I'm going for here. When I do these pieces, I do save them from year to year. And if I don't save them, oftentimes I've had people come in and say, hey, when you take that down, I want to buy those stems from you. So that's often what happens, because they see these unique pieces and it's not like what somebody else has. So most people want to get their hands on them. I'm going to get in close so you all can see how the pieces look, especially the flocked balls and the flocked magnolia stems. And I can't wait to show you where these beauties are going to be going. Here's our glitter magnolia stems. And this is what this one looks like. And when you pick it up, you're going to receive a lot of shimmer, because you want it to kind of stay in place in order to get this heavy look. So this is super heavy and this is on heavy, but you can definitely still see some of the edging and everything. Here is an up close of what the flock pieces look like. Now you can go back in after the fact once everything dries completely, and you can brush off some of the baking soda, because some of that is just going to be residue. But this is what our flock pieces look like a light dusting of snow. Here is another example. This has a lot more baking soda on it. Here's our glitter pieces. Here again are some of our glitter pieces, a smaller bulb. Here is a close-up of what the flocked magnolia stems look like. And again, once these dry, you can always come in and brush off some of the baking soda, and you can either go heavier. So like, for example, right here, this is residue. Once this dries, I'm going to lightly take a brush. I'll just lightly show you, but it's real easy to do. See, that comes off. So you can determine how much you have on there, and you want to do that before you put your finishing spray on. Here's the back side. This is heavy on the baking soda, but again, once it dries and I get the effect that I'm wanting, make the flocking to my liking. But right now, I like it to be heavy. That way you can get the effect that you want, because otherwise then it won't look the way that you think it's going to look. Drop down in the comment box and let me know, have you started decorating for Christmas yet? Have you done any of your DIY activities or crafts? I would love to hear about it.